Hi, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Thursday, July 13th, 2023 zoning administrator meeting. We have just one item on the agenda today. That is the Blue Note Jazz Festival, Category 4 temp event application, number P23-00170. In terms of order of go, Ms. Galena, the project planner, is going to do a brief presentation on the project and the application. Following that, I was going to ask somebody from Chief Marcucci's team to address some of the concerns that were raised about fire and the plans that they have in place to address them. And then following that, the applicant will have an opportunity to present their project as well. And then finally, we'll go to public comment, both here in person and over the phone. So with that, Ms. Galena, if you're ready to go.
Yes, I am. Share. Thought I was. Hit the button. Ah, got it. Yeah. Good enough? Okay. Good morning, Mr. Zoning Administrator and members of the public. The item before you today is a request for a Category 4 temporary event permit filed by Blue Note Festival on May 31st, 2023. Blue Note Festival, Jazz Festival music concert is proposed to be held over 3 days at the Silverado Resort on July 28th, 29th, and 30th for a maximum of 12,000 people per day with amplified music from noon to 10 p.m. and a crew cleanup from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Gates will open at noon. The event will be open to the public and limited by the number of tickets sold. As proposed here, the event will be located on the driving range of the country club near the north course. And we have, stage, there are three stages, two of them of which are in the driving range, and that is stage A and B. And I'm trying to, I know there was a, let's see, hold on. Okay. This is stage A. This is stage B. And the third stage will be on the 10th fairway. Let me see if I can, right here, of the North Golf Course. Event setup is to commence, if approved today, starting on July 17th, which is Monday. And event breakdown is to be completed by August 7th. A round-trip shuttle service program will be used in bringing attendees to and from the concert venue. Shuttle service will start at 11 a.m. each day, 60 minutes prior to the festival doors opening, and will conclude by 11:30 p.m., 90 minutes after closing. Parking for this 3-day event will be located at these 5 locations plus a 6th location. The first one is the Altamira property, which is down here at the intersection of Atlas Peak and Monticello. Whoops, sorry. And that is proposed to park 500 spaces for 1,400 attendees. L2, which is this one right here, is accommodating 800 spaces for 2,320 attendees. And lot 3, which is next to the Silverado spa, is a ride share lot for those people that want to take Uber or people that drop them off. And then lot 5 is Dr. Kigan's property, which will accommodate 600 spaces and 1,560 attendees. And the shuttle service is not proposed to go to this location because they can just, they could just walk across the street and go to the concert venue from there. And this location is supposed to be for VIP and ADA parking. Lot 6, which is the Silverado Country Club parking lot, is going to be used for guests drop off and pickup only. The Napa Valley College general parking is also being set aside, and that'll be 1,200 reserved parking spaces to accommodate 4,000 attendees. I would like to report to the zoning administrator that 2 lots have been eliminated from the proposal, either at the request of the property owner or the applicant due to lower attendance than originally expected. And that is the Lloyd lot, which is on the corner of Hardman and Atlas Peak. We received a request by the property owner that they were not going to allow parking at this location, as well as the other one is, like I said, the Napa Valley or Napa Expo. There was because of the lower attendance. Yes, that's correct. Given this deletion, the total parking available for this event is now 3,100 spaces, or 9,280 attendees as projected by the applicant. Staff identified in my report that 5,000 spaces would accommodate 4,286 guests based on 2.8 persons per vehicle. Based upon the elimination of those 2 parking lots, this will potentially result in a deficit of 1,900 spaces. If attendance is at the maximum requested, which is 12,000 patrons. However, it should be noted that other attendees will have access to rideshare lots and may walk to and from the concert venue from Silverado Country Club lodging facilities. To ensure that the attendees will not park in residential areas, the applicant is committed to traffic control signs to be installed at strategic locations to direct traffic to parking lots and the event venue. Furthermore, no concert parking signage and personnel will be strategically placed on adjacent streets to the Silverado Resort to strongly discourage patrons from parking on the street and walking to the event. I'd like to add one more thing about the event, and that is the after party. We were told by the applicant that the Silverado Resort is sponsoring the after party. The proposal is from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. under our temporary event procedures and requirements. No event may go beyond midnight. So this authorization for the after party is not part of the temporary event. The party has been, the number of participants at this party is restricted to 600 people. Late night shuttle service will be provided to these patrons by Silverado Resort if parked in one of the nearby parking lots along Atlas Peak Road. After party attendees are not, so that after party attendees not walk around in the area late at night. This activity is considered part of the scope of the use permit authorized for the Silverado Resort. It's going to be held in the mansion right here in the ballroom facility of the conference and marketing facility. Any music at this after party would need to be contained behind closed doors at all times and must comply with the county's noise standards. In evaluating this proposal to ensure compliance with the temporary event manual minimum standards table, the application was distributed for review and comment to the planning or the PBS department divisions such as building, engineering, code enforcement, and environmental health, specifically consumer protection and the water and on-site wastewater treatment staff. And also to applicable county departments such as fire, public works, sheriff's office, risk management, and county council for their review, as well as outside agencies such as the California Highway Patrol. All staff have worked directly with the applicant, given the scope of the concert event and off-site parking lots and permits still needed to be processed upon the temporary event application authorization, as well as the incident management and event operation plan that is required to be authorized prior to conducting such an event. At this time, staff has determined that the applicant will adequately address event venue and off-site parking, security needs, medical response needs, and emergency response or evacuation needs, subject to the recommended conditions. It should be noted that upon authorization, should this permit be authorized today, as conditioned in attachment A, the applicant will be required to submit all construction and installation permits for staging and parking setup, tents, food and beverage services for both the organizer and each food vendor within 3 calendar days. So that would be by Monday, I believe. Issuance of the permits must be issued and final no later than July 25th by the end of day, unless inspections are required on the day of the event by the reviewing division or agency. And this is likely to be fire and environmental health. They have to be there to inspect everything before the concert can start, as well as environmental health will have to be conducting inspections for all 3 days of the food services that are provided. This requirement would demonstrate full compliance with the county's temporary event manual standards. Staff notes that additional comments have been provided today opposing authorization of this temporary event. Once again, concerns have been expressed that the event attendance is too large and will generate too much traffic for the area over multiple days, as well as expressing concern that attendings will be parking in residential neighborhoods and questioning whether adequate safety protocols have been put into place if there is an emergency. At this time, Mr. Zoning Administrator, staff is recommending changes to the conditions of approval to incorporate fire conditions of the memo that they submitted and is available for public viewing, to ensure that those protocols have been set into place, as well as environmental health wants to make it clear that that the applicant will be required to obtain temporary event organizer permits, as well as temporary food facility permits for each food vendor participating at the event. And those, everyone will have to comply with the conditions, the timing conditions. Today, representatives from Fire, Public Works, and the Sheriff's Office are available to respond to specific questions and public comments associated with the event's traffic and parking management control plan and the incident management operations plan, which was submitted to the county. However, it was not available for public viewing because due to the sensitive confidential security information, but both the fire, sheriff, and the CHP has had the opportunity to review and will ensure that plan is abides by the temporary event minimum standards required for such an event. This concludes my presentation. Staff and the applicant are available to answer any specific questions that you may have on this side. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlene. I had mentioned earlier to have representative from CAL FIRE speak next, but I think it may make sense for Mr. Tesler to provide an overview of the project, and then maybe CAL FIRE from there can fill in any blanks.
Thank you. As Charlene mentioned, we have a detailed incident management plan that addresses all contingencies in the case of the necessary evacuation of the facility. And not just due to fire, but due to any kind of incident. It's, as Charlene also mentioned, it's fire's had a chance to look at it. The Sheriff's Department has had a chance to look at our plan as CHP. So, we have been doing this for 20 years and, make it a top priority to work in close concert and coordination with these agencies. This is, they know this area better than I could ever know it. So, they make changes, they make recommendations, and we always follow everything that they want to do. My understanding is fire wants to have, and they can talk more to this, wants to have a presence on grounds to be able to deal with any kind of situations relating to fire. And of course, we're absolutely, we welcome that, in fact. So we're confident that we can handle the situation along with these agencies. In terms of attendance, the large majority of people, we believe, will be coming up via buses from the Napa College. Attendance will probably be around 7,000 to 9,000 people. It will not be 10,000 to 12,000 people. We've scaled that back for a multitude of reasons. As far as working, well, there was something I was just about to say, I lost my train of thought, but overall, we feel confident that the event will run very smoothly. We feel confident that the plan that we've worked out in terms of traffic management with our traffic management company, by the way, which is DLC certified and has worked really closely with Sergeant Bradshaw from CHP. We feel confident that between what CHP is doing on the roads and how our buses are coming in and how rideshare is going to work, that of course, there's going to be a greater flow of cars than normal, but that it will be extremely manageable. Also, the only lots that will be parking locally are the 1 and the 5 lot, which is the Altamara and the Kinkin lot. The spa lot will be the rideshare lot. So there'll be a minimum of cars that are actually on Atlas Peak Road or coming up Monticello. Our bus, the way the CHP is going to direct the flow of traffic, there'll be a lot of, you won't have buses crisscrossing, everything will be one way and then go. I'm not going to map the whole thing, it's in our plan, but we've really looked at this to try to keep the impact to traffic and to you guys as minimal as possible for those 3 days. I mean, that's basically the overview from an incident management perspective. If you want me to speak to the overall festival more, I can. Just tell me what you'd like me to address.
I'll defer to you. You've seen the comments, you've heard them before. So the extent that you would like to address them, after the public speaks, we'll have an opportunity to respond and fill in any blanks if you'd like. So I'll leave it to you.
Just a little overview of the event itself. Our goal here is to have a cultural merging of music genres. There have been some comments about it not being the more traditional jazz. There are artists from a number of different genres, including certainly a ton of jazz on the bill. Robert Glasper is our music curator. He's a Grammy award-winning jazz pianist, and he's working with all the artists. He's jamming with all the artists. And the idea here is to have that cultural fusion of music that isn't on any other festival, and to introduce new audiences to jazz and to how jazz affects all different genres of music. That's the core and central tenet of this festival, and we're really very excited about it. And there's also been some comments about Dave Chappelle. Chappelle is an amazing proponent of doing this. He has helped us put together different musicians that have never played together before and had experiences that don't exist anywhere before. And it's what makes this festival really, really special from a cultural and from a music and a jazz music standpoint. We're also this year bringing in a culinary aspect to the festival that's really exciting. We're bringing in sports figures that are part of this experience. Dwayne Wade, who has a winery, and also, I mean, we're not just bringing them in for the sake of bringing them in. Dwayne Wade has a winery, and he's leading the kind of the cultural melding of things at the festival. So we're hoping for an extension of last year, because last year was this cultural experience, but it was the first one out of the box. And we're really hoping that it's going to be something really special and something really different and different than other festivals. And I think Napa should be really proud that that's what's going to happen here. And it's something that you don't see in the big cities. You don't see anywhere else. This is an outgrowth of Blue Note New York, and then the Blue Notes that have spread all over the world. And I think Napa is lucky to have this. And I'll also tell you that I've been doing this for 25 years. It's not my first rodeo. I've heard a lot of comments about last year, which quite frankly, I'm going to not coin a phrase. I'm going to use a phrase that's unfortunately coined. It's fake news. Our traffic plans last year were spot on, and we delivered, and traffic wasn't a mess last year. And this year we're working more in advance with all the different law enforcement agencies who've been wonderful, with fire who's been wonderful, and we're on it, and it's going to be really good. It's not going to be horribly impactful to anybody. There will be some impact. There will be some, we're going to be there. And there's going to be this really cool cultural festival that everybody can look back on and be proud of. And I know I'm proud of it. And I know I'm going to deliver it. And I know there isn't going to be any problems. So I appreciate everybody who supported us and who supported the Blue Note over the last 7 years. And I also think that I proved that in this valley with the Blue Note. I brought more of a cultural experience to this valley in the last 7 years than I don't know how long. And I'm proud of that. I'm new to the valley. So to that point, I don't expect to know everything. And I am very, very, very respectful of what everybody's concerns. We're not blowing off people's concerns. We're glad that you come here and that you talk to us and you tell us your concerns, both before the event and after the event. And we're listening. And if we don't get everything perfect, we want to hear it, and I'm sure you'll tell us, and we'll fix it. And we will take into account everything that we hear today, or you can send me an email anytime. You can, come to the club and, grab my arm and tell me what's going on. And we'll respond to the best of our ability. So thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it. And feel free to, if you come up with more questions down the road, find me via email or here or whatever, and I'll do my best to answer. Should I?
Thank you, Mr. Tesler. So we'll formally open this up for public comment. And for those who wish to speak, please approach the podium and state your name.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Yeah, from the podium, please.
Oh.
I just would like a clarification. Are you saying 9,000 people a day or for the total event?
Per day.
Hello, my name's Jeff Lane. I'm a resident of Silverado as well as a member of the country club. I have had property there since 2007. I, as a resident, will be attending. I also think it's great for the community, for Silverado, as well as for the Napa city and county. For his point of, bringing arts and music to our county, I think that's very special. I think we obviously have experience with large crowds with the golf tournament that's held annually in the fall in September. So this 9,000 per day is not any larger than we have when we have the 4-day tournament, Thursday through Sunday. I'm sure that all the things have been done. CAL FIRE, the police are certainly experienced. We certainly host a much larger festival on the fairgrounds, which has a lot of, impact with neighborhoods, et cetera. And I feel that if they are meeting all the needs of the county, permits, et cetera, I think we should be open to this and certainly support the event. And I know a lot of other Silverado members do too.
Thank you, Mr. Lang. Do we have any others from public wish to speak?
My name is Ron Chassard. I also live at Silverado and I'm a member of the country club, and all well and good what you're doing. I think it's great. I just don't think it's the right place to do it. That's simple. And I own a rental place there, so I stand to probably make a rental over the period of time, but I just don't think it's the right place to do it. Too much manufacturing of, it's a lot of people to get in on two-lane road and a public street, a surface street. So one question, Charlene, did you mention when you were in your opening remarks that they would have people stationed on the residential street to discourage parking, or would not?
Yes, they would.
They would, okay. Okay, just thank you.
Hi, my name is Marlene Rosenberg, and I am the president of the cottages where the event will be held. We have discussed it with the board, and we are in favor of this event. We feel that Ken has done everything possible to keep it under control, and we think that we just don't have any objections. We think it's a good thing for Silverado. This was done years ago, maybe not quite at this level, but we've had concerts on the driving range before, and they've been very successful and accepted by the people that are there. So just in support of Ken, the cottages is behind him. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rosenberg.
Good morning. My name is Dave Primesberger. I live in Silverado Highlands. I'm the immediate past president of the HOA. I have a couple of questions. We heard about the parking, of course, Atlas Peak, Hillcrest, and Westgate. There's lots of open space there. And I'm concerned with the term we're trying to not have people park there. During the golf course or the golf tournament, we put signs in across all the streets. Are we going to do that here for this? Because that was very effective, obviously, that there's no parking issues there.
Yes, I said in my presentation that the applicant will be posting signage, no parking signage, to encourage people not to park in those areas, in those residential.
So all the way
areas.
up and down around.
I would defer that question to Ken, because I do not have a map. They just identified in their statement that no parking signs. So it would be good if he could elaborate a little bit more, if he has a detailed plan of where those parking signs.
Yeah, discouraging folks. If folks park there, what are they going to do? Are we going to tow them? Are we going to, that sort of thing? So I think those were very effective to keep people from parking off the streets. And the second question is the buses, are they going to go around Hillcrest, Westgate, and through that area, or are they just going to stay in Atlas Peak and go through Hardman? So what's the bus routes? Is it going to go around the Hillcrest Street or Westgate, or is it just gone Atlas Peak and Hardman? Are they going to, you said one way drive?
I want to pull out, I mean, I can sit with you and go through the plan because I don't, I'm not from that neighborhood, so I don't have all the streets memorized, and I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. I know that Sergeant Bradshaw has worked with us, but one talked about making part of Atlas Street one way, and the buses are not going to crisscross. It's very bad to have like bus coming up and trying to make a right around bus coming up. So everybody comes in, drops off, or picks up depending on morning or night, and then goes out a different direction than it came in and loops around. And I'll happy if you give me your email. I'll share that whole plan with you so you can feel good about it. And from a parking sign standpoint, we also went over that in detail with CHP, and they basically said the same thing that you did, that we really get a lot of signs up in those key places, and they went over that with us from their experience with the golf tournament specifically, that's very effective. And yes, that is in our book.
And where do they drop off, the buses drop off the patrons?
They'll be pulling into the Silverado property.
Okay.
Driveway, drop off.
Like in front of the mansion there or something?
I can show the graphic here. So at this, it's lot 6, which is the Silverado Country Club lot, the main lot, the north and the south lot. That's where they will be dropping off.
Okay.
Folks. And then the L3 is for the shuttle service. And then this, which was in the staff report, this diagram shows where signs will be posted, the no parking signs and signage. The red line represents no parking signage. So you can see everywhere where there's red, that's the no parking signage. And then there's little dots in locations. That's also signs that will be posted.
I see. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you very much.
Sorry for the graphic, so small to read.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Mhm.
Hi, Rich Tancredi. I live across from the Silverado Resort. So from my understanding of what you went over, the after parties are not part of this permit. They will be modified and taken off.
The after parties are not part of the temp event permit
Okay,
that's being considered today. However, it is part of Silverado Country Club's use permit, what they're allowed to do on the property in the mansion. And I don't know if we have a representative from Silverado today, Country Club, if they could speak on that if they're here.
well, anybody? Nobody wants to speak on it. So at 10 p.m. with those noise restrictions that you spoke about, those municipal codes, is that the time?
It would be applicable if the doors were open, like if they open the doors, because what I've been told, it's a DJ and people inside the ballroom. And so there's going to be music because of the DJ.
Right.
And the concern, is to make sure that they keep the doors closed so that the noise doesn't come out, and because it is close. I think I've got one here. Hold on. Oh, I can't move this now. I don't know why I can move this. Okay. Sorry. This is the after party location, which is in the ballroom.
Right.
So what we don't want, and hopefully Silverado Country Club will out here, is that the party moves out into this grass area. That would be a violation of if the party moves out there and there's music out there, then that would be a violation after 10 o'clock.
Okay. So they hold events there on a regular basis, and we can hear the music inside our house pretty much every time they have an event. Those are working days for us. We get up at 5:30 in the morning. My wife has a 3-hour commute every day. So if we can hear that music over there, in our house, who would we be filing that complaint with? Because we will.
You will file it with, you could call the county sheriff, especially if it's at night,
Mhm.
and have it documented that there are noise concerns. I don't know, I believe there'll be sheriff's service there, but I'm not sure about how late they'll be there. But definitely call and file a complaint with the sheriff's office, or you can call and just leave a message with our code enforcement. There won't be anybody there
Right.
on the weekends,
Right.
but then we will follow up with an investigation and contact Silverado Country Club.
Okay. And then as far as the ride share lot, when is that? The activities could, cease at that lot. It's right next to my property.
I believe I said, well, if the event is stopped at, let me see, what did I say? 10:30. It's 10 o'clock will be the music will stop. So you'll have people transitioning to get on the buses or to get to the ride share lots until the lots are closed.
Right. I think you said.
So
that. I think-
there's, and then I can't guarantee there'll probably be activity at those ride share lots, because if they're invited to if they purchase a ticket to the after party, they're going to be coming out, and hopefully that ride share will then transition to the mansion and have cars pick up there.
Hopefully at 2 o'clock in the morning doesn't do me a lot of good. I mean, it's
And
unfortunately we
that's a
have to work,
question.
and we don't have relatives in the area. We have nobody to stay with.
And
But
that's a question.
You're right. So I filed a comment that we may get displaced by this event, which is disturbing, that the public is going to get displaced by this event.
And that's a question to ask of Ken regarding the more specifics on the after party.
Right. But there's going to be activity till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, so just to be clear, that event is not part of what's before us today, not to take away from your concerns.
Right.
So I would ask representatives from Silverado to address that, or Ken.
Well, the problem,
That after party is
Sorry.
something that's allowed as part of their use permit as it relates to Silverado.
Yeah.
If they happen to violate the noise ordinance or any aspect of the use permit, we'll follow up with it as part of our code enforcement. And I get it, that doesn't do you any good if
yeah,
it's 3 days later, and so
right.
all we can do is hope that Silverado is a good neighbor and that keeps the noise down.
Yeah, me too. Unfortunately, there's been a number of things over there that I've chosen to overlook, but this is a little bit different. So, and then the other thing is that, that parcel is in a high fire danger area. It just seems a little bit a public safety issue to bring that kind of traffic in, and also access for the community at large is definitely going to be impacted. And I believe you were going to have fire speak to that, which I would greatly appreciate. So I hope it all goes well, but this is going to be a very challenging few weeks, and in particular, a tough weekend for my household. So thank you very much.
Do we have any other members? Yes, please.
My name is Sue Sparks. I've been a Silverado member since, oh crap, I think 1987. That's pretty long. And I'm not that old, so I don't get it. Blue Note is fabulous. It is beyond a shadow of doubt the most wonderful thing that's happened in Napa Valley. I think every one of us who was here at Silverado would agree we are going to be impacted. This is extremely scary. We've lived through a fire that's almost destroyed us. The clientele is going to attend this festival. It's not your golf enthusiast. It's not the person that we would like to invite to our homes, probably. The type of people that showed up last year, the language, It was incredible. It was, mess your ears up. All that said, things change. I think Ken's doing an awesome job. I hope the sheriff's with us 24/7 on Cottage Drive. I hope the fire is all over us. I'd love to see security not be so visible, because the thought of a police state is very scary. But we're going to need massive security. We're going to have people jumping over the fences into our pool. We're going to have people walking all over our yards that, we work so hard to keep up. This man, Silverado better give him some place to live for 3 days, maybe 2 weeks, because you know what? He's not going to make it. It's just not fair. All that said, how do you work with this? What do you do? And I think Ken's doing everything he can, but yet I think there's a little more that you need to do. I heard about this thing coming to Silverado, and I thought, that's kind of odd. And then I thought, oh, but that's okay, because you know what? The summer series went to Meritage. This is going to go too. So it's all right. But evidently it's not going anyplace because it's too tough to find another option. So how do you make this option work? I don't think it's like shoving it down your throat and saying, this is all going to work. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's not going to be fine. You are going to be impacted for 3 days. You're going to listen to breakdowns of equipment. You're going to listen to setups of equipment. It's going to go on for 2 weeks. Just admit it. It's going to be uncomfortable for 2 weeks. My feeling is, I really wish Silverado had made us aware of this a while ago. I feel like Silverado shows up and says, this is what we're going to do with your club. Crap. How do you do that to people? That said, I'm willing to get over all of that because I think Ken's going to do it. And if he's not going to do it, I'm going to be the first one to write to him and tell him about it. These after parties, this is, I'd use language, but I said language is bad. The after parties are a very poor idea. The mansion can handle a ballroom with closed doors. This man still hears the music. I get it. My question is, when those people leave that after party, are they walking to a bus? Are they walking to Silverado condos? Who's going to escort these people? They're going to be loaded out of their minds. How many people is it? Loaded. So.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Parks.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
Just more security. I'm done. Was that the people if you're done?
Hello, my name is Mel Primesberger, and I have been a resident here in Napa for over 20 years. We moved here, our first home was on Bonnie Brook, right off of the golf course. The year before the 2017 fire, we purchased a home in the Silverado Highlands. We lost that home to the fires. We believe in Napa, we love Napa, so we spent over 2.5 years to rebuild. We've invested a lot of money. I own a business here. Have been on several boards. I'm currently vice chair of Napa Valley Presents, which is an performance arts funding board here in Napa. I have many of the same concerns that you do. I'm concerned about fire. I'm concerned about traffic, but I'm also concerned about the term that you use, those people. And I'll tell you why, because the majority of those artists that are appearing are African-American. I resent the term, those people. I have friends of all different cultures that would be attending. I can't disagree with you that people, because I've been to festivals and concerts, I've been over to, I'm so upset right now, I can't even think, and I'm sorry. Bottle Rock, and the stench, primarily white people, okay? The stench of the pot smoking and everything else took weeks to get out of my clothes. So I resent the fact those people, I think you need to be careful with the wording that you're saying. I mean, really and truly. Because as I said, we have to think about the nature of the artists that are there, the population that may be coming, but I think there needs to be some sensitivity there as well. And if you're, you're in favor of it, you're probably going to be making revenue off of the cottage rentals and everything. I get that, but I'm just, again, I was appalled to hear the term "those people." I just think that you really, I think in this time when we are focused on, and I think, Ken, I've been to many events at the Blue Note. One thing that we were able to save from the fire was a saxophone that Kenny G had signed. That's the only thing we were able, one of the few things we were able to save when he had performed there. But I just think that there needs to be sensitivity in this room. I cannot believe that you would say that. So, I mean, no,
Excuse me. Any other public comments?
I'm done.
Thank you, Ms. Primesberger.
I pay a heck of a lot of taxes here. We are invested in this community. And I just want to say the term, as an African-American, when I hear the term "those people," that's a trigger for me. And that's all I want to say. Am I right?
If anybody has any comments as it relates to the project, I'm happy to hear them. Please approach the podium.
That's the elephant in the room. They're all Black artists. Come on, let's just say it.
So you don't want me to address those people? My sister wasn't saying those people being Black African Americans. She was making those.
I need to ask you to direct your comments to the project.
All right, okay. The project is, I agree with my sister that this is that Blue Note has brought more joy and wonderful music to Napa. I attend very frequently Blue Note. I'm attending the concerts now, the jazz concerts down at the Mirage, and I have tickets to this concert. But I have 3 properties and a home in the Highlands, 3 properties on Cottage Drive. This type of, this venue, the Silverado Country Club is not the proper place for a concert of this magnitude. It has nothing to do with those people. What it has to do with is the type of music. It's going to be rap. It's going to be hip hop. It's going to be controversial language. The acts that are booked are very sexually explicit. They waggle their tails all the time. I mean, it's pretty much vulgar to me, this type of music. I understand the concept of bringing this cultural experience together to meet younger people to get in with the jazz thing. I totally understand that, and I applaud that idea. I think Ken is doing everything he can. This venue is just the wrong place. Yes, we have a golf tournament. We have thousands of people, but those people walk around whispering, saying hello, and they're on their 7th green. That's the kind of people that are at the golf tournament. And they do have little mini concerts, maybe that have 400 people attend, maybe 3, just for entertainment at the end. This is a massive concert. You are talking 3 stages. The stage is right next to the Cottage Drive pool. We had an incident where there was a high school party that came and they overran Cottage Drive, jumping in the pool, killing us so no one could be there. We couldn't even control that. At the golf tournament, we have security, we have sheriffs at the gate, we have to show our pass to be able to get in. And still, we do have people parking in. Everybody's going to feel entitled when they come up there to just find their place. They're not going to follow the beautiful rules that are put down. You've done everything you can. You're getting everything in place. You've had the experience last year with problems over at Krug. You're fixing them as to the best that you can. But when you're dealing with this massive amount of people with this array of artists, it's a different breed of cat. That's all there is. It's just a different breed of cat. And Silverado is just not the place to have this kind of event. Expo would be. If the Meritage, they've done a beautiful job down there, but they can't handle it. I think they can only handle 3,000 a day. Another venue would be
much more suitable. Why this is left to the 7th hour, I don't know.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Louise Rennie. I just want to make a quick observation. I know there are some of my neighbors here today that are in favor of this concert. Several of my friends and neighbors could not be here today. And so I am just simply making sure, although I know that's the case, that their comments in opposition are taken into account. And I know that's good. I think it's a positive that the size of the concert is being reduced. I'm not sure, per the comments of my neighbors, that all of their concerns are being addressed, but I just want to make sure on their behalf that they are. Finally, I would just ask a question, need not be answered here, but as I understand it, at the Sonoma Raceway, there's a very huge event taking place those 3 days as well, which, if that is the case, I think is going to stretch our police and fire forces quite a good bit. So I just raise that as a possible issue as well. As we can see, the neighborhood is obviously divided on this. So at minimum, reducing the number is a step in the right direction. And to paraphrase one of you who said this as well, it would be nice if the folks at Silverado would kind of be a little more transparent earlier so that all of this would become unnecessary and work to everybody's benefit. That is not happening now. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Alan Goldstein. My wife and I are full-time residents on the 300 block of St. Andrews Drive, adjacent to Silverado. We've attended events at Silverado. We've been cognizant of music events that are taking place at Silverado because we're walking about the neighborhood in the evenings. And we've attended the Blue Note events at Krug in the past, and we've attended the summer series thus far this summer at Meritage, which we were sorry to find out was not at Silverado. I appreciate people's concerns about how large events can affect their personal lives and the neighborhood, and certainly those are legitimate concerns. At the same time, I think there's a great benefit to the community to have music events at Silverado and music events of diverse types. I'm troubled, frankly, by some of the comments that were made about the nature of the music and the nature of the attendees, because I really think those are inappropriate. But in any event, with proper limitations on the numbers of people and how the event's going to be conducted, which it sounds as if the community and the fire department and the other pertinent agencies have taken into account, I see this as a benefit to the community. And so I just wanted to make sure, especially in light of the movement of the summer series from Silverado to Meritage earlier this summer, that the board is aware of the fact that there are residents that see this as a benefit and welcome events like these, so long as they're properly presented, as it sounds as if this one will be. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other members from the public wish to speak? Ken, if you not required, if you have anything you want to add in response to any of the comments, please do. If not, that's okay. Chief Marcucci, does you or anybody from your team want to address any comments as it relates to fire safety?
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Jason Downs. I'm a fire captain and deputy fire marshal here in the Knapp County Fire Marshal's office, working underneath the Knapp County Fire Department. And we've been well aware of this event, and we're certainly aware of the public's concerns. But we've, when we first learned of this event, prior to even a permit being submitted, we met with Ken and we went down to his office. and expressed our concerns. And we're like I said, we're well aware of the public's concerns, especially those that were present in the Silverado Country Club during the 2017 Atlas Peak Fire. And we recognize those concerns and we don't take those lightly. So we were proactive in meeting with Ken back in May when this idea first surfaced. We advised him of what our requirements would be. And we also let him know, what would need to be done in order to provide compliance with the California Fire Code. They submitted a detailed and compliant plan that shows they have thought about everything that we will be looking at. We also work closely with the Sheriff's Department, CHP, AMR, and then they're also contracting with a third-party company called RockMeds. CHP will provide the traffic control. The sheriffs will be the lead law enforcement agency in concert with several security, private security folks. AMR will provide paramedics and EMTs to respond to the medical emergency needs that may arise at this event. Also RockMeds. RockMeds works at Bottle Rock, and they are a group comprised of physicians and nurses that will provide hydration, first aid, and basic treatment on site. What that does is that helps a lot of the typical calls that might be generated: heat exposure, heat exhaustion, maybe some dehydration, maybe a twisted ankle or a bump or a scrape, something along those lines. They'll be able to filter a lot of that, treat that on site, and arrange for folks to, go back to the event and or find transportation home. What that does for us is that eliminates the impact on the 911 system and the resources that are supposed to be available for public response. So that's fantastic. The next thing that we're going to do is, based on the concerns that the community has, we're going to staff a battalion chief, 2 roaming firefighters, and a type 1 fire engine staffed with 3 firefighters for a total of 6 personnel. That's going to be in addition to our normal response that we already have available here in the county. That that engine will be available for the after party as well, even though it's not under the purview of this temporary event. So I feel as if Ken has done a great job. They've presented a detailed plan, and based on the codes, standards, and our local municipal codes that we have in place around this event, they have satisfied those requirements, and we look forward to being a part of it.
Thank you.
And for the record, we do have public comment on the line.
Okay, let's go to the phones.
All right, Dan, you will have 3 minutes.
Hello, this is Dan Muffson on Atlas Peak Road. And I must say that I was just told I have 3 minutes. Nobody else had 3 minutes. So I'm wondering why you're putting that constraint on me. I wonder if the people from Blue Note truly understand that the Silverado Country Club is in the WUI region, the Wildfire Urban Interface, and it's in a fire hazard safety zone. And during the Atlas Fire in 2017, dozens of homes within 1 mile of the mansion were vaporized. And the grandstand for the Safeway open burned. Residents ran for their lives in their underwear, and people all died within a mile. I'd like to show a video that I took down from the CAL FIRE page that shows the fire that evening coming down Atlas Peak Road alongside of the William Hill Winery and Cottage Drive. This is the William Hill Winery. So you could see the car burning there at the very end. That was likely in the VIP parking for the Safeway Open. And so I wonder, after viewing this video, does it make sense to allow such a large number of festival goers in an environment like this? Does it make sense to park cars in the VIP lot across from Cottage Drive and the other proposed lots on Atlas Peak Road? I see you've eliminated the one on Hardman now. That's good. How do people going to safely access their cars if there is a fire? I've heard all sorts of comments this morning about how wonderful it is to have such wonderful music, and there's nothing wrong with the music, but this is not the right venue. I don't understand how we can continue to think so. I've been trying to find out from the fire department for a week now what their plans are. I guess we just heard that everything's okay, but I really haven't heard, first of all, why this information wasn't available earlier in the week. I don't understand. And it doesn't seem to address how to deal with 12,000 concert attendees or 9,000, whatever the number is now, in the midst of a fire situation. How long will it take to move these people by bus? I think that there should be some consideration for traffic officers at Westgate and Atlas Peak Road, funnel cars around the venue if required for evacuation purposes. And there should be traffic control at Hillside Drive and Silverado Trail. But ultimately, I don't hear anyone addressing the comment or the question of who has the responsibility to cancel the event if there's a red flag day. And for a proposed event of this magnitude, it seems negligent that there wasn't more public outreach to the community in a timely fashion to formulate the plans. And it's disrespectful that the plans were not made public in a timely manner. But I'm going to ask the question again. Who has the responsibility to cancel the event if there's a red flag day? Thank you.
Do we have any other callers?
We have one more caller. Kathy, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name's Kathy Oates. I live on Silver Trail adjacent to the resort. We have 35 homes on our street and had to evacuate during the Atlas Peak Fire of 2017. We were lucky. We had embers, but the fire didn't catch. With the golf tournament that happens every year, our street has been negatively impacted with cars, trash, noise. This is a massive event, and I know that CHP is going to be stationed at the entrance of Silver Trail and Atlas Peak Road. The concern on behalf of the neighborhood is how is CHP specifically, how do they keep vehicles from parking on these neighborhood roads, even if there's a sign that says no event parking? And that if they're going to tow, how do they know they are not accidentally towing a residence or a guest of a resident's vehicle off of the road? So I like to understand the procedures relative to this parking mitigation. And I know this is going to impact the other roads as well. Canapali, Silverado Springs area. Thank you.
And we do have one more. Caller, you'll have 3 minutes. Are you able to unmute yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is John Komisky. Am I free to speak?
Yes, you will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I am John Komisky. I also live on the 300 block of St. Andrews Drive, as one of the other speakers is my neighbor, actually. We have a completely different view of the relevance of this event to the quality of life in our neighborhood. I did want to make sure that folks look back in history, because we do have some data that tells us how well this might go. And that's the series of Krug events that took place in the last year or so. And Krug turned it down. They had a working history with it. They found it not to be a good event from many of the logistic standpoints, and they turned it down. That's why it moved to Silverado. Now, the thing about Krug, if anyone is not familiar with their physical circumstance, they're right on 29. So they have one of the major traffic arteries in the county, and yet there was severe traffic problems that were involved. They are very low density in terms of the residents surrounding it as compared to Silverado, which is very dense. And yet the complaints for the sound and whatnot were such that that was part of the reason that Krug turned it down. So I think we have a venue that was better suited, that is no longer wanting to do it, and we should take that into consideration. In terms of the fire, we only have our 2 roads entering the area. I recognize that CAL FIRE, the gentleman who spoke earlier, believes they have it in tow, but nonetheless, if something does go wrong, we don't have the kind of facilities that Krug had. And we have a very compact neighborhood with a lot of people and only 2 both entries and exits. I fail to see what the benefit is. Music, anytime it's played, I believe is great. And I think music of all kinds benefit everybody. But I don't really see in our particular circumstance of a very densely populated area that people bought homes in for the quiet, why having a concert of this magnitude would pose any benefit to the immediate neighborhood here, or it does pose significant risk. And that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
We have no other callers.
Based on some of the comments that we just heard, I do want to point out in response to Mr. Muffson's comment, the responsibility is with the fire department to cancel the event in the event of red flag warnings. If Fire Marshal White wants to expand upon how that would go down, please do.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mike Marcucci. I'm the unit chief for the Sonoma Lake Napa unit of CAL FIRE. I'm also your fire chief for Napa County Fire Department as well. So yes, if it was red flag, which right now is not forecasted to happen, our northern region in Redding does a forecast for Napa County and all of Northern California at 4-month increments, and it just came out last week. So this is pretty fresh data. Right now, as it stands, we are at average fire risk. Right now, in years past, we've been above fire risk, and right now we're about an average to maybe a little below average, to be honest with you. And there is no winds forecasted really until late September or October, just in time for the golf tournament. So, but in this regard, for this event, we don't have really any forecasted red flag or fire weather that would make me, look at canceling the event. Would we cancel the event? I heard that in the crowd. Yeah, we would, if that was necessary. Public safety is number one for the Napa County Fire Department. Economy and politics don't come into that decision. It is truly about public safety. So that decision would rest with myself in coordination with the county. And we would make that decision if it came true. I don't believe that's going to be an opportunity to make that decision because I don't believe the fire weather will dictate that for later this month. But I also want to put a little context into it. If you look from the 2017 fires and then, the glass fire that followed to today, there's a 300-foot fire break around the community now that Napa County has done in coordination with CAL FIRE and the Napa Community Firewise Foundation to protect the community. If you look at our fuels, the way they were prior to the Atlas Peak fire to today, it's a totally different landscape and a totally different environment. There's shaded fuel breaks in the way. What I'm trying to say is there's really not an opportunity for a fire to get that flaming front that happened in 2017. Will we have fires in Napa County? Absolutely. We will still always continue to have fires. We live in a Mediterranean climate, which is ripe for wildfires. But the county's invested nearly $40 million into the protection of the community and removing those fuels, modifying those fuels to make it a safer environment. We also have a great opportunity to shelter in place. There was a concern about evacuations out of the golf course, out of the country club. We have what we consider a temporary refuge area at the golf course. If we needed to, we can stage thousands of people there and hold them in place until the fire front either moved past or conditions changed. What we don't want to do is send everybody fleeing out into all different directions. And so we would maintain that control of the environment with the sheriff's department, which we basically stand shoulder to shoulder with during these events. So we do have a plan for that. The plan is not to just let everybody go in 10 different directions on 2-lane roads. We are very cognizant of that. If you look in our Angwin community and a couple of other places in the county, we have places where we are going to hold people into place until we can send them off in a safe fashion, if you will. So but yes, it is something that, yes, this is an impact to the community. Yes, I believe it can be pulled off safely. Yes, I believe that the fire department is prepared to serve the community as we move forward, as in the event as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Ken, there were a couple questions about towing. When that would happen, if it's going to happen, and where the vehicles would go. Do you have that as part of your plan that you would like to address?
Can look at the plan that
Well,
Bradshaw gave and where.
No, I believe, and I don't want to speak for Sergeant Bradshaw, and he's not here, so I'll caveat that. But I believe that as long as we properly sign everything, which we are certainly going to do in quantity, and if people then park illegally and it was posted that there was no parking there, then that CHP does not have a problem with those cars being towed, and they will be.
Okay. So the speaker, a few speakers ago, that was concerned about a car being inadvertently towed from a that actually lives there. I guess they should just make sure they don't park in an area that says don't park here.
Well, yeah, I mean, oh, now it's working. We got to make sure that everybody on, I don't want to put it this way, but on both sides of this respects the signs. If we put the signs out because we've been requested to put the signs out, which we're very happy to do, if you park a car that does belong in the neighborhood in front of one of those signs, that's true, that a tow truck driver or CHP can't know that that's a resident's car. So, we will request, certainly, that we're going to try to do everything that we can do to keep your streets as clear as possible of people who shouldn't be parking there, but we do respectfully ask that you guys follow the signage as well, so we can then do our job. And also, just quickly, while I have the mic, it's kind of an answer to a broad bunch of questions. As I mentioned before, I've been doing music festivals like this for about 20 years, and I've done them for upwards of 35,000 people a day. And I've done every conceivable genre of music. And we take safety as our #1 priority. And regardless of how many people and regardless of what genre of music, we don't look at that. We just, we bring in more than ample security forces, and we work with law enforcement and fire, as we've all talked about, so I won't reiterate, but that is something that we take extremely seriously. And yes, there will be the proper security because that's what you do at events, any kind of event. I don't care if it's a corporate conference or a concert or hip hop or rock and roll or jazz. We do it for everything we do at Meritage. We have security. I mean, it's what you do. So in my business, if you do it professionally. So I assure you people that we will be doing that.
Thanks, Ken. So I'm ready to move on this project. But first, I want to say thank you for everybody for their participation on both sides, of course. Moreover, thank you, Fire, Sheriff's Department, Public Works. I think Steve's left the building. And Ken, thank you for the work you've done in coordinating this thing. It seems like it's well thought out and you've dotted all the i's and crossed the t's. So I appreciate that. So with that, I'm going to find the project is ministerially exempt from CEQA and approve the temporary event application as conditioned and as revised by Fire Marshal White. Thank you, everybody.